Good afternoon. Welcome to Jim Munley's World of Weather. Clicked on to the long-range weather forecast discussion for June 23rd through July 7th. And this is for the forecast period for the June 23rd to 27th. And the pattern hasn't changed what we're expecting since the last couple of days. We saw our trough in the west, strong ridge here in the east. Now, this ridge here will cause a heat wave across east central states, and this will go in into next week, the middle of next week, as this ridge expands across the area. And we'll take a look at the temperature forecast. So we're going to start here Sunday at 2 a.m. We start seeing like mid-90s down here across South Jersey, mid to upper 90s here across southeast, approaching 100 degrees parts of Florida. Low 100s here in the plains and parts in the mid-90s in parts of Texas. And we have 100s here in parts of the Southwest. We'll go to Sunday at 2 p.m. And we have temperatures approaching 100 degrees, near or above 100 degrees parts of for the New York City area. Also down South Jersey, Philadelphia region, and down through the southeast. We have low 100s here, parts of the plains. We have low to mid-90s here across the southeast also. And then we'll go to Tuesday, which I think the heat will peak then. And we still have temperatures of 100 or above in these areas down here across southeast, the mid-Atlantic region. And then the heat starts to abate some here in the plains, still hot, mid to upper 90s. And we come to Wednesday at 2 p.m. And you can see we have temperature still near 100 degrees, parts of New York City, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C. area, down across the southeast. And then we have low to mid 90s here across the southern plains. All right. Now, also in this flow, we'll have several reverberations, if you want to call them, that will be riding over this ridge. This could impact the weather. This could bring some scattered rain or storms. Looks like here's Monday. Doesn't look like much, but this is like just one model. Then we get to Tuesday, maybe in the afternoon. There could be some. This is just a rough estimate. And then we go to Wednesday, and there'll be some rain. That's the GFS. Then we look at the European, has less in the way of rainfall. And then we look at the European ensembles, also less. So the GFS is the only one that's showing these little interferences with the heat wave that could bring some scattered rain and storms to the region. Okay, with the trough in the west, ridging in the east, this will cause a strong southerly flow to set up between those two systems and result in several heavy days across the region here across New Mexico, and then later into the plains, and then it'll ride over this ridge, bringing heavy rains across the northern plains. Okay, so the main story is the heat. We're going to look at for this period. Now we're going to look at the period for June 28th through July 2nd. And what we're expecting here is generally a trough, ridge, trough configuration. So here's the ridge. Here's a trough. Here's a trough. Broad ridge covering the southern states. It's not as strong as it was earlier. The GFS has a strong ridge all over the western Atlantic. And we look at the other models, and it has just a ridge, trough configuration. So for this forecast period, I am calling for above normal temperatures here. And for this region, anomalies could be near 10 degrees above normal, mainly in this area here. And for precipitation, calling for below normal precipitation here. And for this region, probability of occurrence is 35%. Above normal precipitation here. Probability of occurrence is near 40%. We're going to look at the period for July 3rd to the 7th. And what we have generally expected a trough ridge, trough configuration. However, some of the models differ in the strength of the troughs. So for this forecast period, I am calling for above normal temperatures here, and I'm calling for anomalies to be near 6 degrees above normal, mainly in the orange areas. And for precipitation, calling for below normal precipitation here. Probability of occurrence is near 35%. That is the long range weather forecast discussion for June 23rd through July 7th. And thanks for coming to Jim Muttley's World of Weather, and have a good day.